Are you familiar with these men? Of course you are, they're the Beatles, the most influential band in the fucking world. Not. That's what the Illuminati wants you to think. Over the last 300 years, I've been hearing a lot of praise for the band, and it's completely undeserved if you ask me, but I'm going to try my best to keep my own opinions about them to myself to keep this as educational as possible. Now, you may think you know the whole history of the Beatles' entire individual lives, but everything you know about the Beatles is a lie. The Beatles' real story starts in 1832, when Ringo Starr was born right about, here, named after his mom, Girl Ringo. He lived a normal life until he was about 50 years old when he began attending kindergarten, where he'd meet 3 talented little boys. He would then beat the shit out of them in attempts to impress 3 talentless losers who were also new to the school. Those 3 losers were John Lennon, George Harrison, and Paul McCartney. It wouldn't be long before they would form their very own band, Ringo Jingo Pingo Jingo, before changing the name to something really dumb like the Beatles or something like that. For the first 70 years, they were a simple garage band playing Nirvana covers at local events, but eventually they made it big when they released their own awful noise and called it Love Me Do. Everybody hated it and booed the Beatles until they were forced into hiding. While in hiding, George Harrison would invent Hinduism and the sitar, both of which he would gatekeep to himself, even going as far as to sue John Lennon after he mentioned them both consecutively by name. A couple decades after coming out of hiding, they would release a new single, far more evil than Love Me Do. Something far more sinister.
Hate you do. You know I hate you. I'll always hate you.
The release of their single Hate You Do single-handedly brought the Beatles to stardom. They would then do nothing influential or productive in the music industry and just continue to turn out slop with their final album, Let It Be, where they would pretend to have profound lyrics but were discovered to be undelivered love poems McCartney wrote for Lennon in the 7th grade. It is widely, and falsely, believed that the Beatles did release more music between Hate You Do and the Let It Be album, but the truth is, they actually didn't. Despite not actually having any sort of music released between Hate You Do and Let It Be, there seems to be some sort of Mandela effect that they had a lot more music, but that just simply isn't the case. There is actually no evidence for any sort of musical production between the singles and the album. After the Beatles released Hate You Do, the song was so well received that any time the song was played live, the fans would scream too loud for the band to hear their own song. They then stopped doing live shows. While outside of the spotlight, the band rarely could work together to put good songs together, as every time they tried, they ended up just slowly putting together the entire Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. John Lennon was tired of Paul McCartney's lack of inspiration, so he put up a want ad in search of a ghostwriter. This was where he met Paul McCartney, and then fired Paul McCartney. McCartney was better than McCartney in every way. Better singer, better bassist, and most of all, far better looking. But John couldn't stand the new guy either, as he was still a shitty writer. So he took him to his room under the ruse of a game of patty cake and killed him, replacing him once again with McCartney.